Hi, gorgeous lights. Look, I just wanted to put a video up because I've just been having lots and lots of discussions around this with lots of different people as well. So I've been having a lot of people saying, I'm kind of feeling like I'm wading out of this enormous funk that I've actually been in. And I'm really trying to find my mojo again, and I'm really trying to find where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I don't seem to really know how to actually navigate that as well. And there's something that we need to understand, and it really is at that psychological level as well, is that when you brush up against your own mortality, so, or lose somebody, or um, have something, a relationship breakup, or, um, sell a house, whatever, those monumental big things that actually happen in our life, when that happens, we're always brought 100% into the now and 100% into the disaster or dramatics of that situation. And when that actually happens, it kind of forces us to go from complacency, where we were just kind of cruising through life, to actually go, what is really real to me? What's important, and where am I going with that as well? So we end up kind of having this grief process. So, the world was tracking along a couple of years ago, and it was just, we were kind of doing life and not really paying that much attention, and all of a sudden this catalyst actually appeared and kind of brought our own mortality right into our faces. We didn't know who to believe, what to trust, all of those sorts of things. So everybody goes on Scrabble mode then as human behaviour and says, who do I listen to, what's right, what's wrong, whatever. But at a deeply personal level, it's still at that in your face, choices, fight or flight, everything gets triggered during this period of time. So individualised, we also go within to actually work out what's actually important. As that danger or danger aspect disappears, or you come through a breakup and you're coming out the other side of it, there's grief and there's healing and there's reflection of what you do differently. All of those things happen at exactly the same time. And however, coming through all of that, because it's a process and we always have to do the process, coming through that, you start to actually then reevaluate what's really, really important. Now, with what's been happening, in the world, and where we position ourselves and the choices that we make, and it very much is down to our individual choice. We can get caught in a loop cycle, literally a loop cycle, where you are, playing out the same cautious scenario of, I'll just wait to see what's going to happen, I'll evaluate how I feel tomorrow, I can't do today. So we get into patterns and behaviours as well. So what the universe actually does when this happens, it kind of says, well, I'll honour your choices for a period of time, or the energy will stay, fairly static, as we're holding space for ourselves to work out what we truthfully want and that sort of thing. But then it puts us into the habit of just going, actually, I'll wait for the next catalyst, or I'll wait for the next drama. And because human brains are actually programmed towards negativity, and it's just straight physiological, it's part of who we are. Brains have not really changed over thousands and thousands of years. We still turn up and act the same way. And I do kind of think of it because Spirit has a saying, like, her brain is a little bit like a V-dub beetle, and they keep showing me that, like, the love bug V-dub beetle. But, the pressures and the time and the change in the world are kind of like they call it like the Japanese bullet train, and I absolutely love those two analogies, but the two of them don't go together, really, because the pressure and the speed and everything to do with the bullet train. And when you add it all into too much information overload, pressures overload, choices, decisions, that sort of thing, that catalyst energy is exhausting, absolutely exhausting. So we have everybody trying to find their way back out of it, and caught in this kind of weird limbo, which can make us feel extremely tired, and very unmotivated about the choices that we actually got. That as a collective, and this is discussion that's been coming up in the last couple of weeks, as a collective, we've got a choice because we can't go backwards. There's no going backwards. We can't go back to what it was like pre-COVID, just simply because that space doesn't exist for us anymore. So we're having to really, really look at and really dig deep. Now, Spirit talked to me a lot about the get real and being real and learning to be real and stepping past illusions that we tell ourselves as this is a way that we have to turn up. And look at what's really, really truthfully important to us as well. And we all get to evaluate things like this after a catalyst, but we don't all do it the same way. We do it at different time frames, different speeds, different levels. There's all these different levels of understanding. And one thing that seems to be apparent is we're not very good at holding space for ourselves to make some of those decisions. And we can end up drifting aimlessly, which is a lot of people coming towards me saying, well, I'm just drifting. How do I stop drifting? Well, you've got to go below that. You've got to go below the stagnation of the limbo land or the record player just going around and actually take an inventory. And the first thing that you should actually do is go, I'm still here. This is really, really amazing. And I'm getting up and I'm breathing every day. And that's really fantastic. So there's a lot of acknowledgement of the placement of where you're actually at. So when you start to acknowledge that, it takes you a little bit out of waiting and actually into being a little bit present as well. So one of the exercises that I always get people to do is to, kind of wiggle your toes and say, when was the last time that you can actually remember that you actually wiggled your toes? So if we bring ourselves into sensorily being aware, what does your toes taste like? What do the clothes feel like on yourself? Wiggling your toes, being very present in the body that you're in, you get a lot more out of your head space of overthinking, overanalyzing. And then the next thing that I would tell you to do is really start to monitor how much that you're living, breathing, feeding on either social media or the news, because that's the speeding Japanese bullet train. It's got its own momentum, it's got its own drive, and in reality, if you take it away, then you are forced to come back to actually going, how do I turn up on a daily basis for me? Now, I was reading this really cool book by Jay Shetty called My Life as a Monk, and there's a saying in it that with monkey brain, it's a little bit like, they call it like a drunken monkey bitten by a scorpion chased by a ghost. Now, for some reason, that's really, really appealed, and I really do think that we kind of traverse through life thinking that we have no way of controlling our brain, what it worries about, where it's going to go, how it's going to take us and pull us forward. And a really, really good example of this as well, coming back from Auckland on the weekend, where the plane had been hit by lightning, so we all got delayed for about 5 hours in Auckland. And then everybody had to sit in the uncomfortability. There was nothing that we could actually change to do with that. And watching different people's reactions to an event that they couldn't control and how angry they got was really, really fascinating to me as well, because, that helplessness, we've seen so much of that frustration energy, angry energy, other people making decisions for me and I don't have a say energy. All of that was conducive around what we've seen over the last couple of years as well. So individually, each of those people wanted an answer and wanted somebody else to rectify the situation, that sort of thing. And so it was a really condensed version of what's been going on in the last couple of years. Some people went into grief and said, oh, look, I'm trying to catch a negative light and this is so unfair and I feel so picked on. All the gauntlet of human emotions that we actually really go through as well. And then on the plane coming back, when we finally did get on the plane, coming back, we had a huge amount of turbulence, massive amount of turbulence, so much so that it threw people back into that fear ratio again. There was lots of people crying out, and the plane was really bumpy, and there was people throwing up as well. So it made me really look at it from the point of view of where we think and where fear aspects really push us at times to go into reactive behaviour rather than proactive behaviour, and where the gaps in nurturing ourselves after a catalyst, be it, COVID, be it a breakup, be it a death, whatever, where there's these huge gaps in how we're actually able to right ourselves, basically. Um, and I do think very much so, looking at all that and kind of watching all that behaviour, made me actually realise that the stepping stones that we actually need to take forward back into self-empowerment over the last couple of years are kind of missing quite a little bit. And I'm really pulled, because Spirit keeps pulling it to me, to say, come back into sensorily what you're experiencing, not getting stuck as a V-dub in the bullet train, and being dragged around with that, and accelerating your own fears, your own concerns, all of those sort of things as well. The one thing that the Spirit continually says to me is change is the only constant that you will have. How you navigate through that change is entirely up to you at a deeply personal level. Do you look for a reassurance from someone else? Do you look for someone else to tell you what to do because it's easier, then they can take accountability and you can blame them if it goes wrong? You know, there's all these different scenarios that we use to think that we can keep ourselves safe from change. It's somebody else's fault, or it's this, or it's that. So it's been really, really interesting over the last couple of weeks, because I know trying to encourage people to come out of their own limbo, and make a little plan, step into realness. It's all very well saying these things, but until we actually take it, Spirit says, definitive action, then you remain in the same catalytic post-limbo, that just says, oh, just on the safe side, or just on the safe side. While we're doing that, which is normal behaviour for the human brain, because it's always trying to evaluate what's going to come up ahead. It's always trying to evaluate how that's going to be. Where can I be safe with it? You know, it's basically, this is just normal behaviour. So I think we actually really need to acknowledge that it's really normal behaviour. But I think that people need to understand that it's kind of like enough waiting to see what else is going to go wrong, and start focusing on what's really cool about your life. And I'd still come back to sensorily going, you know, what did that taste like? Savouring it. Savouring the fact that you can luxuriate around in your bed and stay warm, or light the fire and keep warm, or gratitude for those friendships that check on you as well. The effort into yourself, into those realisations, pulls you out of constantly trying to look ahead, and pulls you back into celebrating what's around you in the now as well. So I kind of just wanted to put this video up because I kind of feel like the Spirit's getting me to waffle in it. But please might start to look at a little plan. Like, even if it's just like, I'm going to go for a walk today, or I'm just going to turn that off and some really good music on, and just sit in the energy of how that's actually making me feel. It's kind of like re-waking yourself up again to actually re-empower yourself as well. So, you know, I get all the flat battery stuff. I get that people have got stuck, and we've got a lot into anticipatory catalyst living. And I do think that we need to pull it back to being understanding that we're in charge of our own destiny and what we choose to create. So I would look for those people that lift you up right at the moment. I would be around those people that help encourage you, make a plan, look at where you're going, what you're doing, come into that sensory awareness, love for your skin you're in, connect with people that actually, you know, empower you, have got the same vision, all of those sort of things that are actually helping you away from that kind of catalytic stuck energy, and getting back into living again, not just existing, because it certainly seems that a lot of people are getting caught in their own funk, and it doesn't suit them anymore to actually be like that, but they seem to have lost the tools that actually help them proactively start to step away from that as well. So I just really wanted to put up a video around that as well. We have lots of really, really awesome things coming up, and lots of choices. It's a free choice round. We do have a lot of choices, so we need to start empowering ourselves into a space where we're actually loving the life that we're in, around the people that we care about, and doing all those things in the best possible way. Start now. We've just had this amazing Sagittarian moon, or we've got it on at the moment, which is all about courage. It's about getting real. It's about stepping out of comfort zones. Perfect timing. Now it's a perfect timing. Take care of you. Make a plan. I keep stressing it. Make a plan. Enjoy the plan. Savour the plan. Anticipate the plan. Bring all those things in that counter negativity. Shush the drunken Scorpio stung running from a ghost monkey brain. and actually bring it right back into the now. It's one of the best things you can possibly do. Take care of you. Shine on.